Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the latest episode of Birds vs. Boys. There are only 3 NFL games left. The college season is over. Besides the Shrine Bowl and the Senior Bowl, we just had the Polynesian Bowl. Yes, we are that addicted to football in this country. But I'm going to skip ahead there. I'm putting out my first mock draft for the Dallas Cowboys very soon because we are close to a coach, and it is draft season, Aidan. I'm just kidding. We have championship weekend, obviously, a all NFC East NFC championship game in Philadelphia on Sunday. And Aidan, ELGSES, Eagles, as the mayor of Philadelphia says, go Birds.
Go Birds. go beat ours.
Yeah,
as the mayor would say.
I'm looking at it and I don't even know how to say it. ELGSES, Eagles. Elgesis?
Elgils.
Elgilus.
Go Elgils.
Elgilus.
I think.
I mean, if the Birds are smart, which it seems they are in their social media tactics and everything, bringing versus stuff in, that should be up on the screen. Like, this should be in the end zone.
Yeah. I thought about that pregame going into the Rams game. Everybody, welcome into the NFC Championship episode. Welcome into the Brian Schottenheimer episode.
Brian Schottenheimer,
Birds vs. Boys. Happy to have you here. What a week. I thought about that pregame. I was like, if you want to get the people fired up, like, play that clip of what Jared Verse said. And they put his words up on the Jumbotron. So I thought that was awesome. I think the
Bills did it too.
If we win or do what?
The Bills did it too, because some reporter from Baltimore, apparently he's a scumbag, was saying that Buffalo is a city of losers. So they played the clip within the stadium and everything. And then they were actually asking the Bills head coach about it after the game. And I'm like, this is the point of society that we're at, that post game in a massive playoff game, you're asking the coach about some beat reporter's statement about your city.
Yeah. Crazy. I'm sure Sean McDermott was like, yeah, I didn't want to face the Chiefs again and get revenge. But then that reporter from Baltimore said that we were losers, so I had to do it. That'll be a great game as well, AFC Championship. We should talk about that a little bit after our game. Yeah, Elgils, go Elgils. Should be a good game, good time. We're here. I cannot believe it. We're here.
I mean, yeah, they're there. You're there. I'm not there.
I'm there.
I'm in all black, if you can see. I like they said in Walk the Line, looks like you're going to a funeral, and he said, maybe I am. My own.
Your own. What are you gonna do on Sunday?
So here's the conundrum. So we have watched
I think you have many conundrums.
2 weeks ago, we went across the street to my neighbors and we watched it with them. And then this past week,
my boy.
Fred, the Szymborskis, shout out the Szymborskis. The boy, they have like a 13-year-old son named Dane, and my little daughter just calls him the boy. And like during the entire game, she makes him play with him, so he never gets to watch any of the game. It's awesome. But so we watched with them last week at their house. Then they came to our house this past weekend, and they're like, "Well, we have to keep watching together because you can't break the trend." And I'm like, "Okay, I don't want to be there." But I have already told them all if the Eagles are in the Super Bowl, which I'm trending towards, they're going to be. Just like the last one I was throwing up. The one before that I refused to watch with my wife, and I will not watch. No, not happening. So I don't know. I probably won't watch I will watch the Super Bowl, but
is this the worst case scenario if you're a Cowboys fan? Like,
yes.
Okay.
I don't know about all Cowboys fans, to be honest. I'll be dead honest with you, because I think it's closer to home for me. Obviously, I live in the area. I'm married to a wife who's transitioning my daughters to become Eagles fans, and it's just maybe Trump can sign an executive order on that. And like, it's just so I do this podcast with you. And this is the weird part. Like, and I hate this. Like, there's nothing to hate about the Eagles team except for Nick Sirianni. I don't like Nick, but the team itself, I rather enjoy watching them play football, right? And I, as an X's and O's guy, I enjoy it. I just hate the Eagles so much. So yes, for me it is. For other Cowboys fans, which I have heard, a lot of them we're rooting for both the Commanders and the Eagles to win, and are rooting for the Eagles to make the Super Bowl and win it, to stick it to Jerry Jones and be like, look, F you. Look what our division rival is doing, and you're sitting on your ass not signing players and talking to Brian Schottenheimer, who is literally the meme of the guy in the boy dad shirt going like, me? Like me? When they're like, you're going to be the head coach. So I think it's a little different for me. And the last time when the Eagles won the Super Bowl, well, the first time, didn't watch with my wife, watched somewhere else. She was at a Eagles party, came home. I was in bed by myself, lights off, under the covers, no TV on. She came home from where she was, just opened the door, and she goes, I know you're awake. I was like,
it's like a scary movie.
Literally. So, yes, it is worst case scenario for me.
I've been there in certain Sixer seasons, be like, oh, your rival like beat you, or they're in the championship or whatever. And I'm like, we got so many problems with the Sixers and how they're run that I can't focus on like the rival being there. It's the fact that the reasons we're not there drive me way more insane than a rival. That is called foreshadowing. The Sixers ownership being an issue. That's called foreshadowing for this episode.
I wonder where that could be. But I would say if there's like for you and I have become very good friends since we started this podcast, and like I want you to enjoy that as much as that pains me, because I know how that feels and I know what you put into it as a fan and as doing this. So that, and I guess my wife to some extent, I want joy. I want that Will Smith moment where you walk outside and just clapping for you guys. But you know what?
That'll be, I can't wait. Man, I bookmarked that for a certain situation. I think the last time I used it, Eagles related. I feel like the Phillies, I use it fucking every October. But last time I used it was draft day when we got Nolan Smith and Jalen Carter. I was like, this is happiness.
I think
this is all part of my life.
See, I can't be there, but so this is going to Vince, our producer, and Eddie. If the Eagles are in the Super Bowl, they need to find you if they win on Broad Street, like walking out of a building, and reenact that scene quickly with just the crowd of you walking down Broad Street, just like, and put it to the music and everything.
Oh my God. That is such a good idea, Kevin. Oh my God. Oh, that's good. If you're listening to this now or watching on YouTube, thank you. I just underlined that, squared it, everything, put 3 exclamation points as a content idea that you'll see that go viral later. And you're like, I was there the moment that they came up with that idea. That's a great idea. It is for, there's the silver lining for you. If we do win, it is good for the podcast.
Yes.
It is good for the podcast. It grows the podcast. It attracts more people listening to us. The single biggest week we ever had at Philly Fan Life was 2017, the leading up to Super Bowl. You'd put anything out. I could have put out like I stepped in a puddle today. 1,000 likes. Like,
and the funniest part will be you will be drafting at 32 and Dallas will be at 12, and somehow you'll pick before us.
Wait, hold on. Speaking of that, my guy. Have you seen the tweets and all this stuff? Abdul Carter wants to be an Eagle so bad. And I'm not making that up, because he quite literally said in an interview that he wanted to be an Eagle.
He was like in the Bahamas watching. There's a video of him watching the Eagles game on his phone in the ocean.
He's going to be at the game. Last week, as you said, he was in the Bahamas on vacation after a hard-fought loss to Notre Dame. He was watching the game on his phone. He has tweeted about the Eagles every game. He has said in a podcast interview that he wants to be an Eagle. This is a message for the league. No matter what happens, we're about to get into the game, talk about everything, all the X's and O's, AFC, NFC. This is a message for everybody.
Yep.
Don't let Howie Roseman even come close to sniffing that kid. Don't let it happen. Oh, I'm never looking back.
Can't.
I'd give up 3. I'd give up 7 picks.
Yeah.
I give up 3 first-round picks. I give up 7 picks total.
Hey, if I'm the Cowboys and he's sitting there at 12 for some god awfully reason, you hired Brian Schottenheimer, I'm just gonna say fuck it. Let's build an all-world defense
Listen,
and then run the football.
That honestly is usually the way that these teams get built. Because like Mahomes wasn't drafted first overall, and they had a good infrastructure of a team when he got there. Like they were good with Alex Smith, and then they got better with him. The Cowboys are a good example. They took Dak in the 4th, so they didn't invest quickly into Dak, so they could draft elsewhere.
They didn't win when you're supposed to on a rookie deal, and now he's the highest paid player of all time. That's cool.
Yep. Well, what can you do?
Can you imagine if like you just let it ride this year and then you started over with a new coach and quarterback? Kind of, I don't know, sort of like Washington did.
I would.
I don't know, or maybe you just, I don't know. After you get embarrassed at home in the playoffs last year, I don't know, get rid of your coach and I don't know, maybe make the defensive coordinator your head coach who's now in the NFC Championship game. I don't know.
The more I think about it, the more it looks very bad for the Cowboys that this game is even occurring. Tyler Biadasz will be on the field. They had him. Dan Quinn's the coach.
I believe there are 12 people, including coaches and players, that Jerry Jones employed last year that are involved in this game, or at some point, Kellen Moore included. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. So either Kellen Moore or Dan Quinn are going. Now you need a coach, and you don't have one because you didn't want Mike McCarthy, and those guys would have been the next in line, but now they're coaching for the Super Bowl. And by the way, I hope they get Brian Schottenheimer because then Kellen Moore can just focus on our offense, and then we'll be good.
Mm-hmm. Last thing about me, it's like I want the joy for you, for my wife, and for other friends, but like I really enjoy sports, and I don't know why, because they're just brutal to me.
They can be. It's for these moments.
Like it's this moment, Monday night, I just want one.
You made it to the national champ. Making it to the national championship counts for something.
Yes. Oh yeah. Amazing ride, and I think they showed in the second half they deserved to be there. That first drive, they just did everything. They just poured it all out there, and like, all right. I thought Riley Leonard was going to die on the field during that drive, but I mean, it was a long shot. That Ohio State team is stacked, we will be talking about a lot of those players once the season concludes on the Birds vs. Boys draft shows.
Don't let me get Caleb Love next year.
I think you have a legitimate shot to see Emeka Egbuka with a star in his helmet.
I could see that actually. Him being well.
Think about the receivers he was behind as a number 2 his entire career there.
Yeah.
Smith and Jigba,
Marvin Harrison Jr.,
Garrett Wilson, and now the rookie kid who's really
Olave.
Good. Oh,
and now Jeremiah Smith.
Yeah, and he and he is now the all-time receptions leader in Ohio State history.
Unreal. Well, good for Ohio State.
Bad for me.
Bad for you. Or good for you. You could get
until
some of
he comes over. Yep.
Yeah. On to the NFC Championship. I guess we should talk about it a little bit. I'm grateful. I feel this week up until now I'm like locked in game mode, but the first 48 hours I was just appreciative of being here. Like it almost hit me like every week you kind of just lock in. You're like, all right, win this one, go on to the next. Win this one, go on to the next. And all of a sudden I'm sitting here like, damn, like we might go to the Super Bowl. Like we're playing for a chance to go to the Super Bowl. So at home. And like you just popped up one day and you're like, dang, I did it. Like all that locking in week after week. I remember sitting here doing a show. They're 2-2 going into the bye week. And I said, listen, everything they just did in Tampa was horrible. Get to the bye week, get healthy, come out and show us against lesser kind of teams. How are you for real? Like, is this going to be a real season? They went 4-0 and haven't looked back. And I think about that all the time in doing that show. It's like, that was a pivotal moment where it could have gone either way. And they've locked in ever since. And another thing, because we'll get into some of the talking points around this game, but there's a lot of talking points even going into the last game against the Rams and how they could pull that upset. I think we're really forgetting when we talk about the Eagles. They've lost once since September.
Mm-hmm.
One time.
Mm-hmm.
And it was when they played the Commanders and Jalen Hurts left in the first quarter and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson got ejected and Josh Sweat got out and Nakobe Dean was out and Jordan Davis was out and those guys were in and out, in and out, in and out. That was the only time they've lost since September. I think we've lost perspective of that a little bit with the Eagles there. So I'm appreciative. I'm grateful. I'm going to lock in now as we get ready for this game. But for the first 40 hours, I was like, damn, like appreciate this moment. We're on the cusp of maybe playing for another Super Bowl.
I mean, as you should, as a fan of that team. And after the debacle that was the second half of last year, to now be in this moment and kind of be in the moment that I think you expected to be halfway through this last year, halfway through the season. And, everybody being like, well, same old Eagles, it's going to happen again this year. And clearly did not.
No. Well, yeah, so far they reloaded. I like what they did. I'm happy for a lot of the guys. Like you mentioned, it's an easily rootable team with like Zach Bond, Saquon Barkley, these people that they brought in to kind of stop that bleeding. And just like going back again, we'll talk about this game, but going back to the beginning of the season, we didn't really know that they'd be playing in a home NFC championship game. Yep. Like we didn't know going into the season. Like they were a poor linebacking unit last year. And then they show up this year with a guy who mainly played special teams for the first 4 years of his career. And you were like, everybody likes Nakobe Dean, but we weren't sure about Nakobe Dean. And all of a sudden, they got a guy who's first team All-Pro. They got one of the best linebacker groups in the country. And like all of a sudden, it's like the secondary was horrible last year. And all of a sudden, they're good this year. And it's like, wow, that really popped off. And they'll need it again this week. They need it all again this week.
Speaking of that, talk to me about Quintamino Bay. Is he good? Is he not?
Said today that he is good to go. I'm assuming just based if he is good to go, based on what happened, that was probably a shoulder stinger. Probably lost feeling in his shoulder a little bit.
Yeah.
I will say this. Isaiah Rodgers got picked on. What's crazy is I didn't even think he played bad. Because there were two balls where he was in position to make the pick and they just took it out of his hand. So like I don't want to fully criticize him for that because it's like you didn't get cooked. You did everything you were supposed to do. The guy took the ball out of your hands, brother. Squeeze that thing. Squeeze the tennis ball this week a little bit. Let's do some forearm curls, and we can change that. Do little wrist rolls at the gym.
How tight was your butthole on that last drive?
Okay, let's talk about this. I have a bone to pick with the media. This is the second time this season that they've done this to me. And you called me, and I told you in that moment, when Saquon scored, I was hype as hell. Because right before I was like, this is the moment. This is Snowball 2. This is the LaShawn McCoy deja vu. History repeats itself. And he was gone. 70 yards to the house. I'm like, that was awesome. So let's lock in. Let's get one stop, and it's over. They're talking on the broadcast. Mike Tirico's like, and that could send them to the NFC Championship. And then they go down the field, and Chris Collinsworth's like, oh, they finally got it to Nakua. It's just too late. And it's like, he's like, they should have got to hurry up earlier, but it's too late. And I'm like, brother, there's 3.5 left. They're marching down the field. They got 3 timeouts and a 2-minute warning. And like the whole game, they were talking about modern NFL, how everyone goes for it on fourth, and it improved offenses and all this stuff. And it's like, you're acting like they're down 30. They're down 13. 2 touchdowns, they win the game. So that last drive, I wanted to die because I was like, they did us on the Falcons game like that too. They're like, oh man, oh God, it's over. Like, it's not.
Nope.
It's not mathematically. It's not even close.
Not even close. That was
there's a moment. There was the video of me with the reactions and stuff. You can see there's many hand gestures and many reactions, but in the final drive, you can tell I'm 6 inches from my television screen, and I go to say call timeout before fourth because I thought the defense was gassed. The clock was stopped anyway, so I was like, just get set before that final play, get them a breath of fresh air, and you can see. Like, as I'm in front of the screen, my hands are like this. Like call timeout, call timeout. My hands are like shaking. Like I just had 6 gallons of cold brew.
It was, and it's incredible. So it was like snow. Like I had lots of snow already at my house.
Yeah.
And the game turned on, and my neighbors and my wife were like, where's the snow? And I'm like, I think it's coming there. Even though we're up north, it was just strange. And then it was just like,
oh yeah.
like game on.
And they usually, snow forecast can be anywhere in between, but they really call it to a T on this one because they were like, it's going to hit at 4:30. It hit at 4:30 on the dot. And even here, so I live in Manayunk, so I'm 15 minutes from the stadium. They're saying it's about 20 minutes out. And I looked outside and I was like, yep, can't confirm. Like it was snowing and it was snowing sideways. And I was like, it's coming.
Did you hear
the game? I opened my door. I'm like, I can't believe they're playing a football game in this. Like,
did you hear what AJ Brown said?
No.
He said, I wouldn't have wished that on my worst enemy. He's like, that was not fun at all. That was one of the hardest games I've ever played in.
That
not fun.
A lot.
He said.
Because we'll talk about Jalen Hurts, but he was not number one on my reasons why they could have lost.
Yeah. Speaking of Jalen, too. Okay. Talk to me about him and that knee.
Okay, so that's the biggest thing going into the game to me. I know he is going to be the talking point of all talking points, as always. But to me, it's more about the knee health and going into this game. I need to see him on those first few drives, see how he is mobility-wise. I would like to get him into play action no matter what, because I think it kind of gets him in the flow of the offense better. I think it gets the entire offense into a better flow. They did that early in the Rams game, right? Just getting him out because teams stacked the box. And if you go back to that Commanders game, when he went out, it changed the game because there was no threat of the quarterback really running. And ironically enough, after a week of talking about Jalen Hurts' arm, there's really no threat of the pass. Like the Commanders were not scared of Kenny Pickett getting over top of them. So they were really loading the box. And you always hear the term 8 in the box, engage 8, old school Madden. They were going full 9. Like it's really like they would leave their corners on an island. The safety was always creeping up. Like they were really selling out on Saquon, and you could tell. So if Jalen Hurts is lacking mobility, I think you would see the Commanders try to go back to that. If it's full on normal Jalen Hurts, I think it really changes things because I think what kept them in that game last time against Kenny Pickett and the Eagles was that lack of fear of anybody else aside from Saquon. Like they could just crash down. They didn't think Kenny Pickett was going to keep, like you saw in Hurts on that first touchdown from the Eagles. So I need to see him on those first 2 drives. His mobility, if he's good, it's just a different aspect of the game that alleviates a lot of worry for me and puts the worry on the defense.
Yep. I couldn't agree. I couldn't agree more. As long as, even if he can't be 100%, which he probably will not be, if the element of the defense not knowing, like he may still take off, it's there then.
Yeah, and we really don't know because that knee injury happened, and then like there just really weren't that many opportunities for him to run because he gets hurt, and then it's a blizzard, right?
And it's
like
adrenaline.
Yeah, so we don't. It didn't look like he was very mobile on that safety. I know he probably had the check down there, but I just don't think he trusted planting on his knee. But there were moments there like they got him out on play action. I thought that was really smart by Kellen Moore. Like later in that game, kind of just get the blood flowing, right? Like it's kind of like calisthenics almost, where they hit a few play action plays, and he made some throws even after that, but they couldn't with the snow. We really don't know the health of his knee. He could have been fully like fine, and we wouldn't even have known just because it just became too much of a mess, right?
There was definitely a limp being seen that I saw of him walking to the locker room with Big Dom. Not drastic by any means, but a little bit.
Also, I watched the behind the scenes of the game, and it's just so funny because it's obviously a blizzard, and Big Dom's wearing the same outfit as he always does. Nothing changed. He's just wearing that like short sleeve cutoff with the Italian flag on it.
It's unbelievable.
He's the best.
Hilarious.
He's the best. He's just like the most like guy. Like he's just always around.
It's like whatever.
Same every Sunday. Nothing changes for him.
How the rest of the team coming out of that game health wise? I know Saquon kind of had the hand thing, but obviously that turned to be fine.
Yeah, that would actually, when he hurt his hand, was the key play to me. They were backed up in the end zone. It's 3rd and 13. They get him out in the flat. I know they didn't score on that drive, but it kept the Rams from getting the ball back in that end of the first half situation, getting the ball to start the second half. I mean, he looked good to go in that second half. So everybody else, I think, is healthy. Obviously, Nakobe Dean. Oh.
I think they should just sit him in the first half. Just let him go.
Saquon?
Saquon.
I will say this. I wouldn't sit him, obviously.
No,
but,
I'm just saying how good he is in the second half.
oh yeah,
Just
yeah.
give him a little bit fresh legs and then bye.
And hey, like that's the thing. If we really want to like get into the crux of this game, all the talk is about the quarterbacks, right? And it should be because Jaden Daniels is awesome. Playing against him for the next decade plus is going to suck, right? Like the fact that we're already here in year one having to play him, brutal. And I don't think this is the last time we're going to be playing him with something significant on the line.
People are like, well, remember RG3? He's not RG3.
Yeah, and it's like,
not RG3.
Okay, but like half of that was the FedEx Field thing that he was playing on a dirt ball field. They're getting a new stadium within 2 years.
Yeah. He's different, folks.
He is different. So the talk is, can Jaden Daniels win in this game? The talk is, can Jalen Hurts lose them this game? But the formula for the Eagles has always been this, and we've talked about this so much. You could stop Saquon 3 or 4 times in the first half, right? And it just starts to get harder.
Yep.
It feels tougher.
Well, it's also that
your hands
offensive
on your
line.
hips. And all of a sudden, there's one jump cut, and you're like, fuck, my season's over. Yep. Like if you're the Rams and you're Jared Verse, you're like, damn, I did a pretty good job, but I'm gassed. It's the fourth quarter. I've been out in this blizzard for 4 quarters trying to tackle this guy. Everyone on the offensive line is a goddamn behemoth. He cuts it. I'm like, now I'm down 13. You look up and you're like, damn, that happened against the Commanders in the first matchup. It was pretty close, grind it out. And then you look up and you're like, damn, man, it's 4 minutes left. I'm down 14. Yep. And like that is the thing with Saquon. And you mentioned just getting in that second half. And it's like somebody at some point has got to show me that you can keep up with this offensive line for 4 quarters. And you're going to stack the box, and you should. And I understand that. I still trust Jalen. But at the same time, like it has been the formula again and again. It's like, can you physically be stable for 4 quarters against this offensive line and against Saquon Barkley?
It's hard. It's really hard. Now, I mean, Washington does have a good defensive line. Jonathan Allen, like those guys can battle. But there's been question marks around that Commanders defense all year long. Now, I mean, look what they did against Detroit, but also look what they didn't do against Detroit. They still gave up 30-plus points.
Yep.
And what, like almost 500 yards or something? The difference was the turnovers.
I've got it for you. Ready? So I want everyone on talk shows to keep talking about Jalen Hurts. Can he throw the ball? Can he do this? I want you to talk about Jaden Daniels. And everybody look over here and don't look here. Mm-hmm. And down here in the slop and the mess and the infrastructure of the lines, Washington against the Lions gave up 521 yards of offense.
I knew it was
gave up
over 5.
Over 200 yards rushing. And Jahmyr Gibbs ran for over 7 yards per carry.
That's a problem.
Is that a sustainable way?
Nope.
Now, I'll be honest. They got a little devil magic to them. I'll give them that. So maybe anything's sustainable. But my God, the fact that we're not paying attention to the fact that that happened, now you're coming in against the best rushing team in the league.
And I'm sorry, but I don't see Kellen Moore having Devonta Smith throwing a crucial pass with the season on the line either.
No. Maybe.
But
it seems like every game I can't get rhyme or reason to our 4-minute offense late in games. Like it's like sometimes you want them to just hand it to Saquon 3 times. Sometimes you're like, pass it because they're just going to stack 11 on you. Mm-hmm. And every time I feel like we flip a coin and guess wrong. So maybe this time we don't flip any coin. Devontae will throw it.
But I was like, Ben Johnson was just, he was getting a little bit too smart for himself.
Yeah. Oh man, the Lions.
And that interception, the end zone that Stafford had to end the first half, it was like, who did you want to see the Commanders again?
To be honest, this is not a knock against the Commanders. It's just of how I felt about the Lions all year. There were times I didn't think the Eagles could beat the Lions. I just thought they were better, right? Like this whole year, I've talked about them with such ringing endorsements. I was like, if we win, it's just a foregone conclusion. We'll be at Ford Field because of how good they are.
The injuries caught up, man. 16 guys on IR. over 6,000 snaps from last season were lost with guys on injured reserve.
That's wild. And this was the moment they lost both coordinators. That's just brutal. That's that's football, but it sucks. But hey, that's kind of what goes into it. And you saw that going back to our game. Like, what can we take from those first two matchups? And to me, the biggest thing in that, like, being there and seeing it live, I'm like, shit, like, they're not on the same page. And that always sticks out to me. It's like, injury wise, like, Chauncey went out. The Kobe was in and out. He was in the injury tent. Jordan Davis was in the injury tent. Josh Sweat was in the injury tent. We were struggling with basic substitution patterns. Our green dot guy went out. So it was just, everything was a struggle pre-snap, and it allowed for big explosive plays. It's like, so can the Commanders replicate that if all 11 guys are on the field? Let's hope. But hey, anything happens. Anything can go. We're 2 years removed from an NFC championship where the other team was playing with a fucking running back at quarterback because they ran out of guys. Anything can happen.
I don't know. I think the last line? I think it's down to 6, right? I saw
it was 6.5 today. I think that's a lot for an NFC championship game.
It is. I think the other game is about 1.5 to 2. You can get it.
I don't foresee this being like the 38-7 game. I think the crowd is going to be nuts.
I'm seeing it at 6 right now.
6 seems right.
Yeah,
we beat him by 6 the first time. Probably should have beat him by 6 the last time. So
they're giving Philly a 64% chance to win this game.
I think that's fair. That seems right? Mm-hmm. And we've done like, I don't want to make this analogy because the last time I did it was the 2020 Super Bowl and we saw how that played out. But somebody else, who was it? Because they're really good. Oh my God, I should give him credit because I think he's good. The guy who does the Eagles preseason games. Everyone's going to be shouting at me what his name is. Anyways, his point was, he was like, the Commanders have like 4 or 5 guys that would start on the Eagles. That's it. But they have a quarterback who could be definitely start on the Eagles and might just be, like, overcome all of that, right? So it does feel like the Eagles are a better team. Could be just be that Jaden Daniels is better.
Was it Ross Tucker?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. He was he's all on the I think he played for the Cowboys too, I believe.
He's good. I think his analysis is good.
He is good. He's like I think he's a Harrisburg guy or like out there. He's a PA boy. This is a hilarious I shouldn't give away the connection actually. We might get him on the show. But it would be patient confidentiality breach to get him on the show. So I don't know if we can pull it off. I mean, it's worth it.
We have a connection.
That's all that matters.
It would be illegal to invoke that connection, but we'll see. I have a plan, by the way. If the Eagles win, I think I'm going to do a streamathon. I'm going to go live every day. Welcome back to TikTok. The resurrection.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to stream if we win, I think I'm going to stream every day from Sunday, post-game recap, which will be probably me in a street somewhere with 18 bottles of beer attached to my head, all the way through following Super Bowl Sunday for 2 weeks. What do you think about this?
I don't know if I'll be alive still, but
I don't know if I'll be alive.
True.
I'm going live in the street.
So, all right, give me the 3 things the Eagles have to do to win this game.
One is just the mobility of Jalen Hurts, which we already talked about. 2, and I'm just visualizing this here, is a Devonta Smith game. Like, I'm just really feeling a Devonta Smith game.
I mean, hey, that makes sense after what happened the last time they played the Commanders.
And doesn't it? Yeah. Oh my God, I forgot about that. Jesus. Yeah. This is what I'm talking about. And the people on like the national talk shows are like, well, 5 or 6 plays and the Rams would have won. It's like, yeah, that's welcome to football. We'll have to touch on that real quick. But Devonta Smith, I could really see him having a big game. And that was even before that. I forgot about that drop. But I just feel like he's a big time game guy, right? Like, it's the Alabama factor for me. It's the fact that he basically won them a national championship in the first half of his Heisman season against Ohio State. Like he didn't even play second half. He just cooked them for a half and it was over.
Yep.
His freshman year, he scores the game winner. Like, can you see that moment? But for the Eagles, I can't. I don't know. I'm just feeling a Devonta Smith game. And lastly, not over pursuing Jaden Daniels and getting pressure without over pursuing.
Yep.
They do a pretty good job of that. Did a great job of it on the Thursday Night Football game. Not so much so in the other game. I think of that 4th and 11. That was another pivotal moment. They kind of over pursued. Only Milton Williams kind of stayed home. Everybody else over pursues. He gets a 25 on 4th and 11, sets them up 1st and goal. They score. They don't get that there. The game's over. So I think they'll be aggressive. They always are, but it's not that over pursuance.
I think all those points are fair. And I think they just stick to the run.
Yeah. And I do think, to be totally honest with you, I think we will be able to pass it a little bit more successfully. I think at sometimes they are purposely bland. And both of these playoff games, one, we talked about it, they were vanilla. They knew that they could just be vanilla and win that game and just suffocate them. And then they played in a blizzard.
Yep.
I would, again, am emphasizing and stressing there does need to be more creativity within the passing route concepts. When you see people showing the all-22, people end up in the same area. There's one option for Jalen Hurts only, and if that guy's not there, it just breaks down. Like all these different things. There does need to be more creativity within the passing offense, but I do think that they will have passing opportunities.
Yep.
Like this is not going to be Big Ten West, I don't think. I think they lock in big moments. So I think that as well. And one more point, this is for the Commanders. If I were them, and this is also funny because it goes all the way back to September, and everyone's been saying the Commanders have improved over the season. It's like, have you watched the Eagles? Did you watch the Eagles in September compared to fucking December? It was a big difference.
Yep.
I would go back to the Tampa film. They did the best job, and granted that we had some injuries, but they did such a good job of getting the ball out of Baker Mayfield's hands so quickly. I think he started that game like 11 for 11, and they ran hurry up in the heat. It put the defense on their heels. They never recovered. And because of that, they were constantly in like 3rd and short. If I'm the Commanders, I'm going balls to the wall, hurry up offense, quick passes, getting the ball out of Jaden Daniels' hands quickly, all of those things.
Yep. Get them on the run. Keep them, especially, if you can kind of stop the subbing in and out and try and tire down guys like Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis and keep them on the field and keep them moving. Like that's how you have to beat this defense.
Yeah, and really, I mean, they played Bryce Huff for a snap. So they're down to 3 edge rushers without Brandon Graham. So keep them on the field.
Yep. I'm going to say it again because I don't want to say it, but until it happens, I do not believe any team comes into Philly in the playoffs and wins.
I'm just so happy we have it.
Yeah, I mean that was massive.
I'm shocked. Not that we won, but just the sequence of events that played out that lead us here.
Yep, it's sometimes things just fall into place, and that's what scares me about kind of reminding me of when they actually won the Super Bowl.
And baby,
especially if it's the Chiefs again, because I don't know. Remember,
that'd be funny.
The Patriots and then beat the Patriots.
It would be funny because everyone would then have to root for us Eagles. Bills Eagles, by the way, is the obvious choice for. Am I wrong?
That's
the obvious one.
Good vibes game, you mean?
Yes.
Yep.
People hate the Eagles, but I think that is most entertaining.
How about Bills Mafia? They've raised over $50,000 for Jordan. Oh my God, no.
Mark Andrews. That's they're always great about that.
Do it every time.
Credit. Hey, I will give credit to the Eagles fans. They raised a bunch of money for LA wildfire charities this past week. So last week we were in the headlines for the bad stuff, but I do want to shout it out. We were in the headlines for some good stuff this week.
There's a couple good people there.
We got a few.
I saw a video from the upper deck at the link with the snow and everyone just going wild. And I forget what the song was. And it was like in slow motion. Like this video just shows you that the vibes could not be higher, and I'm just like, fuck. And then I click on to 105.3 The Fan, and they're like, if Brian Schottenheimer gets hired, we're all going to kill ourselves. That's literally. And I'm like, yeah, yep, okay, that's the dichotomy of life in football right now.
That's football, and it's cyclical. It'll happen to all of us. That's so funny. Man, that did look like a snow globe. It was awesome.
Mhm.
Once in a lifetime for everybody who was there. I'll tell you what, I would have never made it home. I live on a hill. I would never make it back home.
No, you didn't make it back home last year in a snowstorm.
True.
So you want to talk about Brian Schottenheimer? Or?
Not really. Can I do one more Eagles thing? I swear to be quick.
I don't want to talk about anything Cowboys.
I think like the national media thing, we talk about it a lot, and it's a good. I think we do a good job, and I think a lot of other Eagles fans do a good job of just ignoring it. And I think we're all doing a pretty good job of it. Like you're still going to see it. It pops up on your social media, but when you see the stuff like, oh, the Rams would have won if it didn't snow. Oh, 5 or 6 different plays would have changed the game. Oh, Jalen Hurts. He's the worst quarterback. He wouldn't start on your JV high school team. It's like these guys, and the reason people are trending away from that stuff is because we have a crisis of convictions. And I saw that quote in terms of like politics, which we don't need to go there, but I think that does hold true in sports as well. The people on our TVs are so convicted in their opinions that they don't want to be wrong. And a lot of people have had opinions on Nick Sirianni and on Jalen Hurts and on the Eagles. So if they win, they fear that they're wrong, and they just keep doubling and tripling down, which is where you get this. And then it creates a lack of like nuance in the conversation where it's like, yeah, Jalen Hurts holds onto the ball too long sometimes. Like, yeah, I've called for more creativity in the offense, but the way they treat this guy, like I said last week, like they're treating him like he's fucking radio throwing the football. It doesn't make sense, but that's why. It's because like people on TV don't want to be on TV and be wrong. It makes it lack nuance. And I think if all of us were just like, hey, we're going to get it wrong sometimes. When the Eagles drafted Jalen Hurts, I was like, what are we doing? So like, there's a lot of people within the Eagles that the analysts don't want to be wrong on. And that's where you get this stuff. And it really just doesn't matter, right? Well, it's not going to change my opinion on the team. And I'm still going to be anxious at the end of the games. And I'm still going to appreciate the journey along the way.
It's like guys like Dan Orlovsky that have, if you literally just watch everything or go to the tape of what they've said, like he puts out in a 7-day span, he'll put out a take that has every angle so he can pull that one tape and show that he was right. And I'm not kidding. Like he was earlier in the season literally calling Mike McCarthy's offense archaic and this and that, which I agree with. But then at the end of the season is calling him a great option, should be a head coach, should be, and it's like you're playing both sides. And even like Tom Brady, right? Let's talk about Tom. Tom was out on TV talking about what a great head coach Mike McCarthy is, right? Leader of men. He should be the head coach. He should absolutely be a head coach in the NFL. He's done great things. Super Bowl champion. Hey, Tom. You have major influence right now and are actually interviewing people.
Yeah.
For the Raiders head coach job, right? Why haven't you called Mike?
True.
It's bullshit. All of it.
Good point.
So
yeah, we're in agreement. And I just hope it doesn't stain Eagles fans. Like, I'm sure people get frustrated that you play this immaculate game and you win, and then you get on TV and you hear people talking negatively about your team. It just doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. It just doesn't matter. And I don't watch it, but I just wanted to say that.
ELGSES Eagles.
That's right. Go Beardeers, baby. Brian Schottenheimer, coach of the Cowboys.
It's unbelievable. So, and I said this last week when everyone's like, oh, it's going to be Dion. Prime's coming. Here he comes. I'm like, they put it out on a Monday night playoff game. And then all of a sudden, Schefter had the report at halftime and this and that. That was what, over a week and a half ago? Haven't interviewed him. Nothing else. It was a ploy to get Prime more leverage and just keep Jerry in the spotlight and make it seem like Jerry, was hip and this and that. And unfortunately, I also think he was lining up Rooney Rule guys. I'm not because you need two now.
Oh, I didn't realize you need two. I thought you needed one.
Leslie Frazier. Now, and that's a very ugly subject, but I think it's a true subject. So, and then you see the guys that they're interviewing and they're bringing in, right? They were apparently completely wowed by Robert Saleh, which I expected them to be. I could see that guy interviewing really well.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah. So, and now he seems like he's the front runner to get the Jacksonville job since Liam, the offensive coordinator for the Bucs, took himself out of the running for that. So it seemed as though Saleh is not going to come to Dallas. I really think they were more or less interviewing him to see if they could get him for their defensive coordinator position. Because, I mean, if he didn't get a head coaching job, maybe.
But don't you think he was going to get one? Don't you think he was going to get one?
I mean, maybe Jacksonville now, I think for sure. Yeah, I would think so. But that's Jerry, right? His thinking was if he's going to hire like a Schottenheimer or a Kellen Moore, he wants somebody on staff who has been a head coach. That's just like, but I never believed that they were going to get Saleh because they only hire like their guys, people that they know, people that's why Kellen Moore is a name. That is why Brian Schottenheimer, he's been in the building. Apparently, players love him, but that's not always the best thing, right? Do they love him because they feel comfortable, or do they love him because they feel like he's going to take him to the next level? Now, the positive things about Brian Schottenheimer, he is apparently an unbelievable motivator. He's got all the qualities to be that CEO type guy, which I want my head coach to be. But the negative is, and I don't know if this is true or not, Jane Slater reported that no matter what position he has next year, he wants to be calling plays. And it's like, we've seen his offense, but have we really seen his offense? Because apparently there's been tons of questions around the Cowboys organization. It's like, why aren't we innovating more? Why aren't we putting in the Sean McVay type stuff? Why aren't we putting in the Shanahan type stuff? Because this is a league where you steal and then you make it your own, like you should. And the Cowboys weren't doing that. But apparently Schottenheimer has been trying to do that and being squashed by McCarthy. He's apparently
Sounds familiar.
Wants to be. So I don't know. It's if this is the rounds that they do and they end up with just a guy in the building who's never had a head coach spot and no other teams are clamoring to interview him, it's like, I think it's going to be the lowest point in a long time since probably they hired Dave Campo, which is probably even before your time. I don't know, man. It's and also there's also reports coming from the building from people that last year Stephen Jones wanted to get rid of McCarthy after the Packers game. He's like, basically like, Dad, done. Like, get him out of here. Jerry refuses to pay coaches if they're not coaching for him. Like, will not pay you to go on vacation. He's not going to just waste the money, apparently. So now Stephen Jones, who is a massive fan of Brian Schottenheimer, is probably like, Dad, we did it your way last year. We kept Mike. Look how that went. Let's do it my way. Come to my guy. Shotty. So he's a backwards visor guy, though. I don't know.
Oh, boy. That could be a good thing or a bad thing. Dan Quinn's a backwards hat guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
We got him.
Yep. So I don't know. It's like I'm in apathy mode because it's not like they're not going to hire. Like, who is going to come out of right field now and be like that? Wow. Ben Johnson was never a real candidate. I wanted Aaron Glenn. That obviously isn't happening. Saleh is not coming. Sark's not coming.
Trying to
Mark
think.
Freeman.
Yeah.
No.
I was trying to think of college coaches.
Lane Kiffin.
Hey, work with the Raiders.
No, that's a real. There is real interest in Cliff Kingsbury, but we saw
that is a real one.
Yeah, but I like Cliff as a play caller. We've seen his non-success as a head coach, college and pros. So I would not. We are recording this on Wednesday night. I would not be shocked if tomorrow we hear Brian Schottenheimer's the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys.
Ah, man, that'd be a tough pill to swallow. And he could be a good coach, but it's just nothing to it.
Nope,
nothing to it. And sometimes nothing to it's a good thing, right? Because it's not flash. As you can tell, we got Chip Kelly. That was a lot of flash. Didn't work. But yeah, I don't know. Just nothing.
Jerry also he doesn't want to pay top dollar for head coach, and you could probably get Schottenheimer for like $3.5 million a year.
I mean,
so
you're never gonna succeed, and you don't even have to be like a big money spender, but you have to at least try.
Yep. And that's people are like, are they lazy? Do they not care? It's we'll see. But you can probably hear it in my voice. It's just like I'm ready to. I've started diving into the draft, and I'm listening to the draft shows, and because I think that is keeping me going. You know what I mean? Because I love the draft and I love that process. And the Cowboys do usually draft well. So we'll see.
You know who drafts well?
Commanders.
Yeah. Although, by the way, tweeted this, but Cooper DeJean pulls a Patrick Robinson. Pick 6 first quarter NFC Championship. I'm breaking my neck attempting a backflip.
My wife's always like, how do they just dive into the end zone like that and do a flip? She's like, I would break.
It must be so freeing.
I know. But even with all those pads on, it is kind of
crazy. You should be allowed to dunk on the goalpost again.
You
should be allowed to dunk on the goalpost again.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That was the coolest.
I'm exhausted.
Oh, no.
That's all I got.
Hey.
Streamathon.
Possibility. Everybody root for the Eagles because it means we're doing a streamathon. I'll get a bunch of guests. I think I can get a bunch of people on, especially the Super Bowl weekend. Eagles, Cowboys, I'll find these Bills people if they make it, if we make it, anything. We just got to win, man. I can't believe we're here. We're here again. This is the best, baby. Let's just win it. What if we just won? What if we just won? Man, it's the fact that this can become a tangible, I can feel it. I'm so close. I'm at the gym and I'm just thinking about it. I just daydream and I'm like, man, what if Devontae just catches that one? We go to the freaking Super Bowl. What if Saquon hurdles a guy like Penn State, Iowa back in the day on the game touchdown winning drive? What if we just go?
I know that feeling. That was me last week with the national championship. All week thinking about it.
Well, don't put that in.
Just give me one. Just give me one. Just give me one. Nope.
You didn't make it though. You didn't make it.
Yep. 20 million they made.
Wow. Unreal.
Marcus Freeman's they're going to get back.
They'll definitely get back.
Yep.
They'll be in the playoffs no matter what.
Yep.
Also, I know the Shane Gillis, Nick Saban thing, he was legit mad at Gillis. Shane Gillis was not wrong.
Nope.
Look at it.
Yep.
Who finished regular season number 1? Oregon. Who was in the national championship? Ohio State, Notre Dame.
Yep.
SEC. Not around. Why do we think this is?
When he called him Alabama Jones, I was dying.
That was
Alabama Jones over there. He's a national treasure.
Both.
That commercial that was for Under Armour was just unbelievable.
Oh yeah.
And they said Under Armour just called him and was like, "Do you want to do something?" He's like, "All right, cool." And him and his writer wrote the whole thing. Really? And they just shot it. And then literally he said they shot it in Pittsburgh and they were in their RV because he's on tour going somewhere else. And his guy just cut it all up on a laptop in the thing and then send it to Under Armour. They're like, cool. And they just put it out like that.
Really?
Yeah.
Pretty remarkable. I want to be a writer. I think I could be a good comedy writer. Like skits like that.
His timing is so good. Like that's what makes him. Hey God, it's me, Shane. Like,
and his like euphemisms when he's like, I will not bet this month. I might bet Sunday.
He's just, and the other guy's like, did you go to Notre Dame? He's like, yeah, I went to Notre Dame. That was a lie. God, I'm sorry. I know I didn't go to Notre Dame.
No, I didn't go to Notre Dame. My uncle went to Notre Dame. Oh, that's cool.
All right. Eagles, Commanders, 3:00 in Philadelphia on Sunday. Everything on the line. Woo-wee. Cowboys in Cabo.
Oh, man. Cooper, give me a pick 6, buddy. Little bro. Can't wait. Let's do this. We're here again. Let's bring it home. Let's finish the job. Finish the job. Finish the job. And we've just finished the show.
Follow us everywhere you listen to podcasts. We are there with full episodes. Google, Spotify, Stitcher, Apple. We're there. Here on the YouTube page where you can just see my joy in my face. If you are first time here watching, listening, thank you very much. Smash that subscribe button. If you're back, like some of our favorite followers, like, comment. We appreciate all the interaction. And anywhere we are on social, still on TikTok and Twitter and Instagram, Birds vs. Boys Pod. Get ready, Cowboys Nation. I'm talking to you. The Eagles are going to be in the Super Bowl.
Oh, whoa.
We just have to face it.
Whoa. Finish the job. Finish the job.
I'm going to be eating wings or pounding a tribe drum for the next 2 weeks. Chiefs or Bills, baby. All right, everybody. Enjoy. Like I said, even if your team is not still around, we're football people. We love the sport. Live and breathe it. What I would give to finish recording this right now, it's 9:15 on Wednesday night, and be able to turn on my TV and watch some action. But I can't because we're at the end. 3 games left. Can't miss a snap. Enjoy them all.
Chris Hansen here, and I'm going to need you all to take a seat right over there and check out Birds versus Boys.
I think you're completely right here, and I hate it.
Yep. Hey, idiots. Stop doing dumb things. I got 2 phones. Upset alert. Upset alert. I might go insane.
I think you're already there.
There's no hope. Hope is gone.
If this was an AFC North podcast, we'd be done in 15 minutes.
Bob Hope.
I'm going to drink bleach.
That is
be the team you promised me you were going to be this year. This is the Consciously Hopeful podcast.
I'll be watching.